going to talk about twin flames, guys. We're still doing that. I hope it's okay for me to have Simon and Garfunkel in my video. Okay, we're trying this again. What is a twin flame? I know that last time I got extremely passionate and I started like channeling this message that I really didn't intend to. But here we are again. We're going to talk about twin flames, but what I want to actually really get into the meat of this time is what twin flames are, who they are to each other, what that actually means. I know that there's a lot about this online. I also know that everybody's path is different, and it is so important to acknowledge that, because we don't do this life so that we can be somebody else or so that we can be exactly like everybody else. We do this life because there's something specific, or many specific things. There's a specific journey that we're all meant to walk. And in my opinion, things like awakening, witchcraft, spirituality, your friendships, your relationships, these things are all so, it's like every word in your personal dictionary is going to just be a little bit different than the words in somebody else's personal dictionary, because we're not clones. We're not meant to be. So I'm going to give you my take on what I believe twin flames are and who they are, and then I guess we'll go from there. So as I understand it, twin flames are separate halves of the same soul. So it's not to say, for example, that like you are the same person as your twin, but sort of in an infinite, energetic kind of way. Before you were incarnated here, and possibly many, many lives back. I mean, twin flames potentially have been twin flames for as long as they've been incarnating on this planet. You and your twin flame used to be the same soul, and either you split at creation, or you split what does that even mean? Or you split when you decided to come here for this life, or you split several lives ago. Either way, before you incarnated, the divine masculine and divine feminine parts of your soul, essentially the two extremes, the yin and the yang, they split apart. And that is not to say that in this life, a man and a woman have to be divine feminine and divine masculine. And it's also not to say that the roles never switch around. Sometimes one of you will be more feminine and the other one will be more masculine in spirit, and it could switch. But essentially, the essential parts that make up the two parts of your soul, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, also symbolized by the god and the goddess, and many, many mythical and historical pairs. For example, like Adam and Eve, if you're a Christian or you know Christian mythology, Adam and Eve are a perfect example of a twin flame, because they could not exist without each other. They were literally separated from each other, and two bodies were made for them. It is also believed that in Greek mythology, that when man was created, I mean, Zeus didn't like men very much. Really, Prometheus was the only one that was like, give man a shot. He gave us fire, and he really suffered for that, didn't he? Thanks, Prometheus. I should give offerings to Prometheus all the time. Side note. So Zeus, the myth goes that when humans were created, we each had 2 heads, 2 sets of arms, 2 sets of legs, and Zeus struck humans with his lightning and split them apart. So that saying, I need to find my other half, find your other half, comes from the myth that Zeus split people in 2 so that they had to actually walk and learn and live separate from half of themselves. And you can make what you want of that, but I think that it's a perfect example when thinking about being complete, because humans have a single head, 2 arms, 2 legs. We all have a heart. We all have a set of organs. We all have our own mind. We all have our own spirit, our own heart. But knowing that we essentially have the spiritual equivalent of a Siamese twin out there, somebody who would have complemented our thoughts and shared a lot of our feelings, would have had a very, very active psychic connection to. This is the person that we considered a twin flame. So twin flames decided before they incarnated that they needed, in order to learn things this life and to get the full experience that they were going to get in this life, that they needed to incarnate separately. So, and sometimes they're a decade apart. This does not mean that you were born around the same time. Sometimes you're weirdly born around the same time, but also sometimes one is quite a bit older than the other. Reincarnation is not an exact science. It's not like on what we would normally consider like a linear timeline. I mean, nothing is, but the idea is that they needed to start life on their own for purposes of growth. So a lot of times people's lives are really tough. And I mean, we're humans. Life is tough. But it's also beautiful. And it's for a reason. We come here to learn things, and we don't accept, on some level, we don't accept challenges for ourselves and experiences for ourselves that we don't believe that we can live through or learn from, even if we don't live through them. There is a purpose. Your soul has a purpose. Your higher self has a purpose for the things that you experience. Okay, so your twin flame is someone who is walking a dual path with you. Whether you've met them before or not, if you're watching this video, you probably have some idea that you have a twin flame or you're going to have a twin flame. Because if you haven't clicked off by now, then I truly believe that the things that come to us, the knowledge that comes to us at the time that we need it. So I really believe that the people that need this video are the ones who are going to watch it. And the ones that don't are either going to start it and click away, or they're not going to understand the information because it's not time for them to understand it. It's not because it's overly complicated or crazy. It's just that your human brain can only take the input that it is ready to receive. So if you were not ready to hear about what twin flames are, who they are, then you wouldn't still be here. On some level, this is what you need. Okay, so twin flames are 2 separate human beings who share a soul, a path, a destination. And I truly believe that is so. There is a lot of speculation about this. There are a lot of people that talk about how twin flames rarely find each other, get together, stay together. And no, it is not purely about romance, but your twin flame is the other half of you. And you can't have a partial relationship with yourself. You can't have a partially functioning relationship with yourself for very long. So when twin flames get together and then they separate, it's because they're reflecting their garbage at each other and needing to work through it, needing to get healing, needing to focus on what is going on inside of themselves and not what is going on inside of the other one. Because, look, just because you're with your twin flame and you separate doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be together. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to start talking about this again. If you guys want to talk about twin flame separation, let me know in the comments down below and we'll get into that. So you and your twin flame, your two halves of the same person, you're going to have different lives. You'll have different upbringings. You'll have different circumstances, but you might have some similar touch points or key areas of trauma. And the potential exists that you might physically look similar. So you might, now bear in mind that you are two halves of the same soul, right? So you might look similar, but you also might look very opposite. So what I mean by this is one of you could be very feminine and the other one could be very masculine. Or one of you could be very delicate and the other one less. One of you could be taller and the other one shorter. Like I said, one could be older and the other younger. But there's something about you because you have two pieces of the same soul, that when people look at you, they might think that you're related. They might think like, boy, they just go together. They fit together. They're the same in some way. Other people will not necessarily perceive. In fact, people will probably not perceive of a twin flame connection or what a twin flame connection is if they have not experienced it. So your friends and your family and everyone isn't really going to get what's going on with you. And when your relationship gets tumultuous, probably even your therapists are going to be like, that is an unhealthy relationship. And I am not by any means excusing unhealthy relationships. I'm not saying that if you're in an abusive situation that you should put up with it. You shouldn't. Never do that. Part of loving yourself is understanding your own worth. But even in a twin flame relationship, when things are rough, standing up for yourself, understanding your own self-worth, helps your twin also understand their self-worth and helps to heal the wounds that cause that negative energy and that unhealthiness in the relationship. So you might have a lot of similar characteristics in form, but you might also have similar or opposite characteristics in personality. For example, you might be obsessed with similar topics like types of mythology. You might have the same favorite color or opposite favorite colors. Like one could love blue and the other one might love red. One of you might be a little bit harder around the edges. The other one might be a little softer around the edges. Like one of you could be a little bit goth and the other one might be more, like hipster or hippie or like just chill in general. And also you'll balance each other very well. So one of you is going to probably be more forceful and more boisterous, and the other one is going to be more thoughtful and more contemplative. But when you come together, you very well make a perfect whole. That's not to say that you're perfect as human beings, but you will make a perfect whole, a perfect person, a perfect soul. So your twin flame is actually your other half. It is not necessarily the person that you're married to. I am probably going to get in trouble for this. Often when twin flames meet, they're not in a situation where they can be together right then. Maybe they're too young. Maybe they're too damaged. Sorry, I was using my fingers. Too young, too damaged. Those are the fingers. Maybe one is in drugs or an unhealthy point in their life, mental illness or something. and not able to give or receive love. Maybe they're dating other people. Maybe they're married to other people, have families and things like that. I am not by any means suggesting that anybody break up their relationships or break up their marriages or anything like that. I do, however, believe that twin flames go through life for a certain reason, for their own reasons. And even if you're not meant to be together in this life, or you're not going to be based on the choices that you've made, I do always think that it's possible. I think it's always possible to wake up. I think it's always possible to be with your twin flame. I think it's always possible that your paths will align. And I don't believe in giving up hope in that. Now, that being said, when I'm 120 and dying, because yes, I will probably be 120 before I die, mark my words. If I'm still not united fully with my twin flame at that point, I will, by all the gods, go out knowing I did absolutely everything I possibly could for that other person. There is no way on this earth or on any plane or planet or star system that I'm not going to put in the effort for myself and for that other person, no matter what the turnout is, no matter what their decisions are, no matter what happens. Unfortunately, some people's flames might pass away and the other one is still living. And obviously that is a difficult situation beyond words. But also one of the beautiful things about twin flames is that you'll always be reunited, even if it's not in this life. You'll always be reunited. You'll be reunited in death. You'll be reunited on the next plane. You'll be reunited in the next life. Twin flames don't have distance from each other. There is no distance. Even if there's physical distance on Earth, there's no distance in energy, right? So space-time and your psychic link have no concept of space. If you know that you have a twin flame, you know your twin is out there, you can feel their emotions, you can hear often their thoughts or have visions from their point of view, or you often have visions of them being in your life, then those things are happening. On some level, those things are happening on another timeline, or they're happening at that moment to that person that you're not physically able to see or touch or speak to. There is no space, there's no distance. That's why things like distance tarot readings work. That's why things like distance Reiki readings work. And these are not even twin flame readings, right? They're just one person honing in on the energy of another person from across the world. It doesn't matter where they are. Once you understand that your limitations are in your mind, that all limitations are in your mind, that they're a social construct, then you will start to see that no matter where your twin is, no matter what they're going through, you can always reach out and touch them. You can always reach out and speak to them. You can always send them love and thoughts and often receive it in return, because there is no distance in spirit. There isn't. So that being said, when you reincarnate, you'll be together again. Every time you reincarnate, you'll be together again. If you ever become the same melded soul and you stop splitting apart, then you'll be together for always. And this is the kind of bond that really almost defies words, and that's one of the reasons why I've been having a hard time making this video. Also because I want to be helpful to you guys. That's one of my biggest. It's the only reason I have this channel. I have never loved looking at my face on camera. I've never loved the idea of talking and not having words mean anything. What is important to me is that I'm actually able to help someone. One person. If one person is touched, if any of you are touched, if you resonate with what I'm talking about, then that's why I'm here. That's what matters to me. That is my goal. It's my whole purpose. It's why I'm an artist. It's why I'm an actor. It's why I sing. And it's why I'm doing this. It's why I'm sharing my journey. It's why I'm sharing what I've learned. But with that comes a sort of like almost a stress or a weight of needing to be an expert, needing to know the answers to everything. And I don't know the answers to everything. And I'm not in unity with my twin flame right now. I do have one. I know that they exist, and we're in contact, but there is no physical representation of my perfect union with my twin, right? And so I felt like I couldn't talk about this yet because I didn't have that perfect example for you guys to look at. But the fact that I'm on this journey and you're on this journey means that we can do this together. And we can support each other. And I actually think that that is more powerful sometimes than seeing someone at the end game. And again, it's not an end game, right? When you have your union, you're still going to have so much stuff that you need to work through. You're always going to have things that you're going to have to challenge each other on. And it kind of goes along with the spiritual awakening. So that means that your missions are going to become clear, more clear all the time, and you're going to have work to do. So it's not like the happily ever after, right? That concept of what happens after happily ever after. What happens after that is a relationship. It's work. It's your mission. It's raising the vibrations of the rest of the planet. It's helping other people wake up. There's so much to be done, and there's so much power in twins being united. And I actually really think that a lot of the reasons why this concept that twins are probably not going to meet and that twins are probably not going to be together or be in unity, I really think that that concept is a construct. It's something to keep us limiting ourselves. It's something to put a lid on our abilities and our thoughts. Because if we tell ourselves, what are the odds that I'm going to actually meet my twin? What are the odds I'm actually going to get to be with my twin? But my twin said they never wanted to see me again. My twin said that they don't want to be with me. My twin said they're not attracted to me. All of those things are constructs. They're thought forms. They're social pressure, right? Putting the lid on your abilities, your mission, your importance, because we are all important. We are all snowflakes, right? But we're snowflakes with a purpose. So it's not that any of us matter more than somebody else, but it is that we are all important. We are all God. We are all the universe. We are all one with each other. We're all connected psychically. We're all connected energetically. So if you're telling yourself, I don't know how it's possible for my twin and I to get together, then you're disregarding I guess the rant was going to happen anyway. This is how you know if a video is channeled. If I just talk and can't stop talking, then that's what's happening. You're disregarding what twin flames are. And what they are is a single soul that separated itself and made a plan to come back together once they were made stronger by their experiences on Earth. You need to learn things. You need to heal. You need to grow. And yes, you can do that with your twin, and you will continue to do that with your twin. Some people will get together with their twins in a more broken state than others. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect before you get together with them. But always moving forward and never looking back, always working on yourself, always doing the work is the most important thing. And as you planned together to meet up, you will meet up. As long as you're not putting limitations on yourself and saying, Well, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. It doesn't look like it's possible. How can whoever knows how many people have twins when there are so many people in the world? And often you and your twin might be a different religious background. You might have a different ethnicity. You might have just a different cultural background. You might have very different family situations. That doesn't mean that you're not twins. What it means is that your plan before you came here was so strong. It was so powerful. And you needed that diversity of background to help you grow. And the other one needed that diversity of background to help them grow so that you could come together with this plethora of experience, this strength combined, right? Because your strength by yourself, just imagine your strength by yourself is that of the number 10. Say by yourself in your power, you have the power of 10. You and your twin together have the power of 10,000, of 100,000. Together it is multiplied by, I don't do math, 100 or 1,000 or something. It's a lot. So, and it's limitless. That is just me trying to make a number that makes sense for brains that are human, but your power is limitless. So if your power is limitless, would you not have accounted for the fact that you planned to have different geographical locations, that you plan to have very different lives, that you plan to have different struggles and areas of growth, different ages, and maybe cultural background things that might even interfere with your relationship? Like maybe you have a language barrier and you have to get past that. You have to learn around it. That doesn't mean that, first of all, that these things weren't supposed to happen, because obviously they were. And it doesn't mean that it's impossible for you to be with your twin. If you're going into the twin flame mindset and you're awakening with the concept that everything is infinitely larger than you ever thought it was, why would you then put a jar on your infinity, like a lid on the jar of your infinity, and say, oh, well, I only believe it to be this much power or this much of infinity? I'm sorry, that's not a thing. You can't limit infinity. And that's the problem with the human brain, is that we can't actually comprehend what infinity is. But if you consider that your higher self knew what your life was going to look like this time, and knew what your mission was and the things that you needed to learn, you would think that your higher self in that plan would also account for the fact that you and your twin are going to have different geographic locations, that you and your twin are going to have different backgrounds, you and your twin are going to have different types of pain and trauma and healing that needs to be done. Okay, twin flames are not here to have life be easy. You're not here for things to be easy, for them to be handed to you. You're here to learn and grow so that you can help others learn and grow, so that you can focus on your mission, so you can, whatever that is, find your mission and work on it separately and together. Okay, so what is a twin flame? The twin flame is actually, in fact, your other half. It is not the same as a soulmate. It is the one person who will, above all and outside of romance, whether the romance is part of the relationship or not, the thing about the twin flame relationship is that it's everything. It's a mind connection. It's a heart connection. It's a body connection. So that means that the romance part is usually there, because if you're fully connected to somebody, you're fully connected to them. Every part of them. You're psychically connected. You're emotionally connected. So the romance part is actually a side effect of your closeness to your twin. The fact that you and your twin are really trying to reunite in physical form. You can't open up somebody else's body and crawl in and become one with them, right? So the closest thing that we get to is romance, physical romance, but that helps us to strengthen our psychic love bond with a person. And that's one of the reasons why sex is so touchy. For some people, it's a highly emotional thing and can't be experienced with just whoever, because it makes them feel too close. It makes them feel too open to that person. And if that person is not their twin, then it can cause, emotional and mental trauma. I'm not saying that people should never sleep around or sleep with whoever they want or do whatever they want. I'm not even approaching that. That is not what I mean at all. But what I mean is, it's not about the romance, but it doesn't exclude the romance. That's what I mean. And if you have yourself thinking that one aspect of your relationship is never going to work because of the type of people you are or something that the other one has said or whatever, then you're putting your own lid on your life. You're giving yourself your own glass ceiling. You're deciding that you're comfortable and you only want to grow to a certain point. No joke. Okay, guys, story time. And then I'm going to go because this video is super long. If you've been here till the end, thank you so much. Story real quick and then we'll go. I was learning about a new subject a few weeks ago. And I was really excited and I was pumped and I was driven and I was reading everything I could about it and I was watching as many YouTubes about it as I could. Oh my gosh, YouTube videos about it as I could, and I was really paying attention to which videos resonated with me and focusing on those and drinking them in. I was letting my higher self pick the videos I watched. I was searching random shit. I was following suggested topics you wouldn't believe on YouTube. I was going through videos upon videos from one person and then switching to another one and focusing on that person and their topics, for hours and hours and hours. I was doing this and really dedicating myself to trying, to expanding and growing and learning as much as I could about these new topics. And it was more topics were building on top of more topics, and they just kind of kept happening, and it was piling up. And then I came to one that was directly connected to what I had been learning. And my brain was hold up. That's a little too far. That's a little too much. That sounds kind of crazy. I don't know if I believe that. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I have gone down one of those rabbit holes where all the crazy people go and I'm just believing whatever sounds good to me. Maybe I have a weak mind. I really tumbled back a lot because I was what is even real all of a sudden, right? I went to sleep that night and I don't remember what I dreamt, but I dreamt a lot. And when I woke up the next day and I thought about that topic again, and it was pretty soon after I woke up, I thought about that topic again and I was oh, it makes sense now. I get it. Overnight, my higher self got a hold of my human brain and was okay, it's time for you to accept this fact of reality. And overnight, I went to bed thinking one thing and woke up the next morning and had completely changed my mind. I was oh, no, I get it now. And then I started focusing on that thing and learning about that, and it was crazy and expansive and wonderful. But that's my point. If you put a stop first of all, if you put a stop to your learning, you're only hindering yourself and you're only slowing your mission, you're only slowing your life, and you're only putting a cap on yourself. You're only hurting yourself and your twin flame, potentially, who is yourself. The other thing is, if you've started awakening, you've started waking up, that cap's only going to sit there for so long because your higher self at some point is going to be okay, you've got to come out of your comfort zone. We've got to keep this going. We've got work to do, and it's going to kick you in the butt. So just know that the things that your human brain can perceive are only a very small portion of the things that it will be perceiving and the things that you already actually know. Okay, before I get off topic again, I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope that this video helped. If it did, please give it a like. It helps me a lot and it helps me know that you like what I'm talking about. I also love to have discussions, so if you want to talk to me in the comments down below, add some thoughts, cause some discussion, I am all about it. I try to respond to everybody. Sometimes YouTube deletes my comments or like they just disappear or something, I don't know, but I try to respond to everybody. Also, if you want to send me a DM on Instagram, that's a great way to get a hold of me as well. If you're not already following me on Instagram, I post regular thoughts and spiritual inspiration, as well as parts of my projects that I'm working on, pictures of my pups, and I often announce my videos and blog posts there. Not always, but often. So it's a lot of fun. Check me out there. And if you would like to see more content like this from me, consider supporting me on Patreon. I want to do a lot more of this and it would help me out a lot. And I also am working on creating some materials for you guys and also writing a book. And so it would be a huge help. Also, new patrons at the first tier will receive a free tarot or oracle reading from me that's personalized for you. And then you'll also get to have input on future videos. You'll get access to the online community that we are building together. And you will also get a shout out in one of my videos. So if you want to be a part of the inner circle, head on over to Patreon. Again, thank you guys for being here. I love you so much. Have a beautiful, blessed day.